So it's important in any research project to consider what questions need to be asked. This Socratic approach not only focuses the research itself, but it also opens up new and unfamiliar avenues to be explored. Some questions I had concerning this research project itself that I wanted to answer. There were actually several. There are many different questions that I want to answer, but I wanted to highlight four specific questions here in this presentation. So the first questions I wanted to tackle were why questions, and that is why has the church, the American church, abandoned persecution as a gift from God or as a theology itself within the church itself? Why is there no training in the church in America on how to respond to persecution? The second question I wanted to address was the what question. What would persecution training look like in today's church? What would need to be covered in that persecution training? What should be the main approach in responding to persecution in the American church if and when it is ever uh, going to come to America? And third, the third type of question I wanted to ask was how. It was a how questions. How does, more specifically, how does a philosophy of death inform persecution? How do Christians approach death itself, and why is that important to understand when approaching persecution? And also, how do Christians reconcile death and life together to inform the theology of persecution? And lastly, I wanted to discuss the when questions. When did the world become so polarized? When did Christians forsake the Enochian worldview? And how does that worldview explain the need for persecution to come? Why did the Bible predict persecution when it did? And why is it stating that it's going to happen at this point in the end?